Hi, I'm Lisa Curcio, and I would love to welcome you here to Lisa's Stamp Studio. Today is Monday. It is September 11th. The year is 2023, and this is a special YouTube premiere, which means I'm live with you right now in the chat. We hope that you'll log into your YouTube account so that you can chat with us here during the event, or of course, leave a comment on the replay. While my card tonight demonstrates a Christmas card, this is a fantastic fun fold for any theme whatsoever because of that pop-up feature. This holiday card has an accordion card opening that's a real wow. Now you're not going to want to miss the project sheet. That's going to be linked for you down in the video description when tonight's premiere is over. That's going to include the pictures, the cutting dimensions, and all the supplies for the cards I'm going to share with you tonight. You're not going to want to miss that. Now, before we get started, I want to make sure you know all about that name in blue off to the side. I'd like to introduce you to Gina Curcio-Hawley. Gina is the Sales and Marketing Director here at Lisa's Stamp Studio, and you might recognize that surname. She's also my daughter and an avid stamper. So she's here in the live chat to answer your questions for you and to provide links. And of course, I'm there with you as well. All right, we're ready. Let's go ahead and let's get started. We're going to begin with our paper trimmer, and this paper trimmer with Stampin' Up! Is by far the best I've ever used. It includes both the scoring and the cutting blades. They stay on that clear track at the same time. They navigate up and down out of the way. And of course, that surface is protected, so you don't ever have to worry about that rubbing off. Now, there's a nice ledge here at the top, which is going to be really important for keeping your cardstock straight, because if you're like me, I do nothing straight, so that's a lifesaver for me. Not only is there one here, there is also another here at the bottom for you. This is 4 1/4 by 11, and we're going to do two score lines here. The first one is going to be at 5 3/8, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line that up, and we are going to score with that light blade. Then we're going to move over to 5 5/8 and do the exact same thing. This, in essence, is going to give us a little area here that's going to be a binding. So let me show you that first. So here's that first score line. So I'm going to crease up on this, and this is my perfect opportunity to make sure that these edges are all perfectly aligned. And I'm going to go over that with my bone folder for some nice crisp creases. Here is the second one, and I like to get that one started because it is kind of narrow. And then I'm going to fold back on that as well. And then once again, I'm going to make sure that the edges here and here are nice and aligned, and we'll go over that as well. That bone folder, when you make a fun fold card, is going to be really, really important. All right, let's put that off to the side. And I'm going to use a piece of 6 inch by 7 3/4 inches. Remember, all the cutting and scoring dimensions are going to be in that free project sheet. Link down in the video description below. You can adapt this size, so you can add more accordion pieces to this pop-up card that you like. So this one is going to create 6 tabs for me, or 6 accordion folds, but you can go up to as many as 8. I like this number best because it keeps the card from getting too bulky, but please keep that in mind because you certainly can make the adjustments. Coming back here to the trimmer, we're going to do some scoring. You need the 7 3/4 inch across the top. Now the first score line is going to be at 3 inches, and we're going to score. And then 3 3/4 inch, and we're going to score. And then 4 1/2 inch. And then another one all the way here on that extendable arm. Don't you love that? We're going to go to 7 1/2 inches, which is going to leave us just a small margin here for adhesive. Now you're going to see this looks very, very large. I know it's going to be really difficult to see those score lines in the video. But what we did in essence is just make one template. And now what we're going to do is we are going to take this and turn it, and we're going to cut it into 1 inch strips. That was a whole heck of a lot easier than cutting 1 inch strips and then scoring them all. So we just sped things up. So now the 6 inches across the top, I'm going to line this up at the 1 inch mark, and I am going to use the cutting blade. Now the one thing I want to point out about this trimmer, you've got about 1 1/2 inch of cutting dimensions on this side, which I love for those smaller dimensions because I can hold more cardstock here with my left hand. So I'm going to go ahead and line that up on the 1 inch and that dark blade to cut. And we're going to do this until there's no paper left. So that's going to end up giving you 6 strips because we did a 6 inch width on this one. So keep that in mind. If you want 7, you're going to adjust this to 7 by 7 3/4. Obviously 8 would be 8 by 7 3/4. All right, so now we've got all of our pieces. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet because we're going to do a little adhesive here. The center score line is going to go in. And this is a good time, once again, to check those edges to make sure that they're nice and straight. That's going to be important for this fun fold. Going over it with my bone folder. There's a score line here, so this one goes back. And the other one is going to go back as well. And again, I'm checking those, and I'm going to go over that with my bone folder. So when you're all done, it kind of looks like a W. So we've got a valley and 2 mountain folds. Now you'll recall there's a little score line right here on the end. Let me crease up on that so that you can see it. And we're going to use that bone folder once again. Now let me bring it in a little bit closer so that you'll be able to see a little bit more detail. This is very narrow, too narrow for adhesive in my opinion. And as much as I love the multi-purpose liquid glue sold in my online store, the tip on this is way too broad. It makes too much of a mess. If you've watched my videos before, you know I'm not a glue girl. I'm too heavy-handed until I found this. This is the Precision Tip Glue Applicator. Mine is good and gunked up because you can tell it's well loved. It comes with the silicone cap. A YouTube viewer shared about putting a rubber band there to keep that cap in place, which I love. Thank you for sharing your tips with me. I poured that other glue right down inside of here. Now this glue is thick, it's quick drying, and it's very, very strong, which is one reason why I love it. I'm gonna go ahead and shake that down, and I like to get it started on my silicone craft sheet because I don't like surprises. But can you see how tiny I can get those? That is not possible with the other glue bottle. So I'm gonna go over this, and I'm gonna add a little bit of glue there. Keep in mind it's gonna spread, and then I'm going to attach these 2 ends, which is sealing them. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a squeeze. When you're finished, it should look like this. Now this is going to dry quickly, like I said, and ahead of time, I went ahead and I did all the other ones because I didn't think you need to sit and watch me do that 6 times. But I think you get the idea. Now we're going to put these together. Before you put this away, go ahead and squeeze it through that silicone craft sheet and wipe off that excess glue. There's nothing worse than a really gunky tip, and then cap it. You're going to want to store this vertically. You're going to find this product linked for you on my website under Shop Craft Room Favorites because it's not a Stampin' Up! Product, but when I find products I love to be able to provide you with the link. When this dries, it's going to turn translucent and you can just rub it right off. Let's come over here to these pieces. We're going to attach these together to make the accordion for the pop-up to this card. But before we do that, we have to get the card base ready. And you'll recall that was this piece here that has that small book binding here at the top. Now I opted to put designer series paper at the top and the bottom. So I've got a piece here for the bottom and I've got another piece here for the top. Now you might be looking at this thinking, oh, that paper is so cute, and you are right. So let me take a minute and show you this incredible paper. This comes from the Merry, Bold, and Bright Designer Series paper stack, and I have fallen in love with this because look at the colors and the patterns. So we've got a myriad of colors here, nice, bright, and cheerful. I can use that for birthday all year round. And of course, we've got these and these and these, but look at double-sided papers with Stampin' Up!, which means you have a huge, huge expansion on your purchase. And I don't know about you, but I can use these all year round for celebration cards. They're never gonna go out of style. So while the Stampin' Up! Papers have a theme on one side, the other side has a very generic pattern which really expounds on your purchase. I'm going to bring that silicone craft sheet back in and let's go ahead and add these. Now you need to make sure that you do this before you start building the accordion pop-up. So I'm going to add some adhesive around the perimeter. That silicone craft sheet underneath me is protecting my work surface because adhesive, liquid glue, and hot glue will not stick to it. So I'm looking to keep a small border all the way around that card base, and then I'm going to attach that here. We're going to take this top one now and we're going to put it at the top of the inside. It's almost sad to kind of cover up that pretty paper, isn't it? And then we're going to work all the way around. Now I'm using the Stampin' Seal Plus. It is extremely strong, so I don't need to cover every inch of the border. This adhesive tends not to be very forgiving, so I find that small little dashes of adhesive around work much better for me. I'm going to go ahead and look for that same border once again, and then once we're happy with that, we'll tack that down. Now we can start building. Let's push this off to the side, and let's bring those little strips back in. Let's start with the first one. You're going to want to make sure that the pleat is facing towards you so that the straight seam edge is towards the back. That's very important, and make sure that's the case all the way through. So we have the next one here with the pleat in the front. This one is going to have to go on top of here. Now you can use liquid glue if you'd like. You have a little bit of shimmy room with that, but I'm going to speed things up tonight on the premiere by using adhesive. Some areas I might decide to use glue as I get more narrow. I don't need the entire width of this. So I'm just going to take that and I'm going to fold that excess adhesive back on top of itself. Now the one reason I absolutely love the Stampin' Seal Plus is that it comes out in tabs, so nothing is wasted. So if there's only a small diameter of this that I need, I can fold it back on top of itself like this. We're going to take this one and we are going to line it up, I'm going to say just shy of halfway. Now I know you can't see it, but I'm going to hold it up for you. I'm aligning the bottom here and here the best I can to keep these straight. And then we're going to tack those in place. So now we have two together. The next one we're going to place on top of this one. But I want to give you an important tip about something I learned when I was making this card. In essence, we are going to build this so that it fills this area here. I do not recommend that you go all the way to the outside edges because remember, this is going to go into an accordion pop-up. I find it fits better if it's just inside that area. I also found that as I built this, I checked to make sure that if I needed to gauge these a little bit left and a little bit right by maybe just 1/8 of an inch, I could do so as I was attaching them. So let's go ahead and let's use a little bit more adhesive on this side once again, and then we're going to curl those excess edges back. And now what we're going to do is we're going to attach this piece. And this time I'm going to go again a little bit less than half, and we're going to attach them here. I'm going to take a cursory look now. So I'm going to hold this on top of the designer series paper, and I'm going to grab that next piece with the pleat in the front, and I'm going to look and I'm going to hold it. Well, that looks pretty good. And then this one here, and I'm going to hold it. And then the last one. So you can see that I'm going to have to shimmy this one just a little bit over so that they fit within the perimeter. So this time I can make sure that this maybe goes a little bit about halfway. If you work as you do this, you're going to find that this is so much easier than just sticking them all together first and then wondering whether it's going to fit. So that's just a really great tip for you. So I'm looking, again, about halfway, and I'm looking for the top and the bottom to make sure that they're nice and aligned, and we're going to attach them. And I'm going to give this another cursory look. You know, I hate surprises when I'm creating. So if I can adjust things as I'm putting them together, we're good to go. I'm going to give you another tip. You're going to see now as I hold these other two pieces how this is going to be perfect, right? Now, if you're worried that when you lift this, you're going to lose your positioning, grab your pencil, and I'm going to make a little mark here and a little mark here and one here and one here. Those are kind of like cheat lines, aren't they? So we know where to put them. So now I know my adhesive is going to have to fall within this area. So I'm going to go ahead and place my adhesive here, and then I am going to take this next piece and I'm looking to align the bottom and the top, and we're going to attach that. And again, we're going to check it one more time. And again, making sure that those pencil marks are in the right place, and they sure are. So now we can go ahead and add adhesive to this last little area. Now, if you're here first time on my channel watching, I am so glad that you have come by. Do me a favor and click that subscribe button here. And if you click the bell icon, YouTube will send you notifications when I'm here on YouTube with a premiere or, of course, another video. We would love to have you join us. You see the pencil mark there? I'm going to come back to this pencil and I'm going to erase that because I don't want that to be visible when I'm all finished. I get a lot of comments about this pencil. You all love it, and I have it linked for you under Shop Craft Room Favorites. The lead is very, very soft, and the eraser is fantastic. Now that these all are together, there's that accordion. This is going to get attached to here. And again, you want to work just inside the outside edges. Now let me show you how to attach this, and then we're going to talk about the pop-up features that fit inside of here. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to add adhesive on what's going to be my bottom right side. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm going to come right over that cardstock. Well, I got a little excited there, didn't I? Okay, this is why I love the tabs. And then I'm going to add a little bit more here and at the bottom. We're going to take this sticky edge now, and we are going to keep this straight, and we are going to attach this near the crease line. I want to make sure that you see that. There's a crease line here, so it's above the designer series paper, because we have to attach the other side as well. I'm coming up close to it, but I'm not going over it. Once I'm happy with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to tack that in place. The reason it needs to be near that score line is because now this panel is going to get attached here to the top, which creates the accordion expansion for this card. So let's go ahead and lay that flat, and we're going to take our Stampin' Seal Plus. I'm trying to keep my head and hand out of your camera view, so excuse me. And we're going to add some of that adhesive here across the bottom. The easiest way now to do this is I want you to kind of gauge where this is going to fall just above this crease line. So I'm going to hold it up so you can see it. So you see the crease line here? You want to make sure it's not too deep because that's going to pull this too much. So what I like to do is I like to take it, it's stuck to my finger, and I'm going to place it here near that crease line, right here where my thumbnail is. And I'm trying to keep it as close to that designer series paper edge as possible. And then once I'm happy with it, we're going to go ahead and we're going to let that go. When you're happy with it, then you can close it and then press. Work slowly. Now keep in mind, if you have liquid glue, you've got that shimmy room, right? Which is fantastic. Now, look what's happened. The bottom and the top pieces now connect to expand the card. Now you're probably wondering, how are we going to get images there? Well, intuitively, you would want to put them in the center. But I found that that works and sometimes doesn't work. So I'm going to give you lots of tips tonight on this project as well as the other ones I'm going to share with you. So let's slide this over and let's work on those expansion pieces now. I'm going to bring in some basic white scrap cardstock here, and this is where we're going to stamp our images. And let me show you what stamp set we're going to use today. I'm actually using a bundle. This is brand new in that new mini catalog that just came out a few days ago. It's called Merry and Bright, and it does have coordinating dies. I took some pieces out that we're going to use this evening. I love the whimsical feature of this because it's going to make cute and simple cards and coordinates with that designer series paper. I'm going to start by using Melon Mambo. Now you're probably thinking, Melon Mambo? Well, the reason I did is because it coordinates with the designer series paper. Stampin' Up! Includes all the colors included in their designer series paper, so there's no guesswork. I've got the solid light bulb image here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink that up. I'm going to tell you right now that a juicy ink pad is going to be your best friend because you want nice solid images. I'm going to take that here and I'm going to stamp and I am going to press. When you're using photopolymer ink, if you're finding that you're not getting a good solid image, I want to give you another tip. Grab your Pierce mat. Now this is sold in my online store. It's a one-time purchase and you will thank me. When you go to ink up the stamp, travel to pick up as much ink around the outside corners because we all have a tendency to stamp right in the center, don't we? That Pierce mat is going to do two things. It's going to provide a little oomph from the bottom up, which is going to give you an even better solid image if you are struggling. I have arthritis in my hands, so that's always an issue for me. Now, I did numerous light bulbs, and I'll show those to you, but this light bulb is going to need a base. So for this, I'm going to use Shaded Spruce, again, one of the colors in the designer series paper, and all these products are listed inside that project sheet for you, and then I'm going to stamp that here. Again, that Pierce mat is a lifesaver. Now, I'm cleaning the stamps off camera, but I do want to show you the other colors that I used. I used Granny Apple Green, Blueberry Bushel, Crushed Curry, and Poppy Parade. And I didn't think there was any reason for me to sit here and stamp them all out, but I wanted to make sure that I explained that to you. Now, the one thing I absolutely love about this die set is Stampin' Up! Knew that we were going to need more than one light bulb at a time, so they gave you multiples of the bulbs and the caps. Now, if you're like me and you want to do double duty and pass these all through your die cutting machine at the same time and save yourself some time, you're probably thinking, how are they all going to stay in place? I love this product, and again, it's linked for you on my website under Shop Craft Room Favorites. It's the Post-it labeling and cover-up tape. You can pull it off, you can make small strips with it, and then you're going to align your image where you want it, and you're going to tack it down. Now, if you're looking at that thinking, well, why is that there? Well, good reason. That's because that's going to give you an area to attach the base. The great thing, too, about this tape is you can make it even smaller for these smaller pieces so that you can go ahead and tack those down. So obviously you can do 4 of these pieces at one time. Now I have one here that's all die cut. Let's go ahead and take these off, and then you've got all your little pieces. I'm going to make sure that I save that tape. The great thing about this tape purchase is you're going to find that you're able to reuse it. So I stick it right here on top of the container or even on the handle of my die cutting machine so that I can use it over and over again. I get about 6 uses from each one of these strips. This is the same roll that I bought more than 2 years ago. Now let's talk about adhering them. I'm going to come back to that silicone craft sheet. I'm going to come back to that precision tip glue applicator, and I am just going to get that started because I don't like surprises. We're going to add some glue down here at the bottom, and this is where my take your pick tool with that putty tip attachment is going to be my best friend, and we are going to attach that here and press. Like I told you, this glue is strong and it dries very, very quickly. Now before you join me, I went ahead and I did all the others. So I've got 2 in the blueberry, 2 in the mambo, I've got 1 in poppy, I've got 2 in the crushed curry, and 2 in the granny apple green. Going to be a beautiful card, and it's going to coordinate with that designer series paper. Now that we've got all of our pieces, let's talk about putting them together. Inside the pleat is where they're going to go. And I originally thought, oh, this is fantastic. I can just stick them here. But then I thought it looked kind of weird. So I created an anchoring for them that uses a tab. And I'm going to talk to you about that because it's inside your project sheet and I want to make sure that you know how to use it. However, I have samples for you that actually directly add some images to these areas to give you some variations. Using the Reach for the Stars dies, I used the layering circles that are here. And I die cut 1 3/4 inch circle numerous times. And I have those here. So this is where I'm actually going to build the image up. Now, when I attached it here, it just kind of got stuck. So this is where the tabs come into play. Now, I decided to make this 7/8 of an inch so that it would take up most of that area and not be obtrusive. You'll see in a couple others that I made them smaller. So you're going to want to experiment with the width. Let's go ahead and let's add a little adhesive to the one side of this. This now is intended to go inside the pleat. I chose not to add one to the back because it would be flat. Instead, I skipped that one and I came to here. So I'm coming down to the crease and I'm going to squeeze so that it's attached. Here at the top is where the circle is going to go, and this is why I love the tab. You can maneuver the height here. Now you can go ahead and use liquid glue. You can put your silicone craft sheet underneath if you'd like to, and you're going to add a little bit of adhesive here to the tab. Then I'm going to take the circle and I am going to align this where I want it. So I made sure that I had a little bit of cardstock of the base showing here, and I'm going to press that in place. So I have another one here, and that one is also going to go here. But this time, you're going to have to make sure that you graduate the size just a little bit because you want to make sure that the circles are not perfectly aligned. So the tab is being anchored the exact same way. But this time, when I go ahead and put my adhesive here, and I'm going to be careful, that you're going to manipulate the circle so that it's a little bit lower. So do you see how there's some staggering there? So I'm going to go ahead and attach that here. So now we have 2. I'm going to move down one more time and we're going to do the exact same thing here. We're going to add our adhesive and we're going to work inside that crease coming right down to the score line, and we're going to pinch. So again, now we're going to need to make sure that we've got that graduation in sizes. I'm going to add a tiny bit of adhesive here at the top. I like to collapse these a little bit so I have an idea on where this is going to go. So this one's going to come a little bit lower yet, and I'm going to attach that here. Now we have one more, and we're going to do the exact same thing that we have done. Again, we're going to add our adhesive. We're going to add that inside of here. Now you're probably wondering about the bottom, and I've got a fun idea for you for the bottom one. So we're not going to use a tab there. We're going to very carefully close the card. I just kind of bow the cardstock back a little bit, especially if you're using liquid glue. And then I'm going to take this one, again, closing up those other pleats, and I'm looking on where this one needs to be. So this one needs to be a little bit lower yet, and we're going to attach those together. Keep in mind, these can be any shapes. I find 1 3/4 inch or right about there works very, very well. Now let's add these quick and easy. Now you might be looking, why do you have so many? Because wait till I show you the closure we make for this card. We're going to flip this over. We're going to grab our dimensionals. I'm going to use that paper piercing tool attachment to help me. I'm going to add one here, and I'm going to add one in the center. You don't want to put them too close to the top or to the bottom. Now it's just a matter of doing the fun part, decorating. The reason you want to make sure they don't hang over is you don't want them to stick when the card is closed. My best tip for you about these fun little light bulbs is you want to create movement so that when the card is open and fans out, that you've got some interest to this. So don't be afraid to change the direction of these bulbs. I'm going to go ahead and switch now to the Poppy Parade. That's the only one I made in that color because the outside I chose to do a little bit differently. And I wanted to bring the continuity to the card base. So this one now is going to go this way. And we've got one more tab here, and then let's talk about the bottom. This is where the blueberry bushel one is going to go. I'm going to go ahead and take my dimensional here and again here, and we'll remove those backings. Because we've glued those together, we're sure that there's not going to be any separation there. And then this one, I think I'm going to do a little bit straighter. Again, check the back, make sure none of your dimensionals are exposed. Let's talk about this spot. Also, we need a spot to write, don't we? So ahead of time, I went ahead and I did this just to save a little bit of time. Let me show you where these came from. This is from the Nested Essentials dies. It's one of my favorites. You've got staggering sizes of 3 shapes, and I used the largest one here. And from the same stamp set we're using tonight, Merry and Bright, I made a phrase. And this is one reason why I love this, is because you can mix and match these to make customized phrases for your cards. So I did Merry Christmas. Let's attach this first. So I'm going to slide that over. Let's add our adhesive here to the back side. I am going to come up underneath this last tab just a little bit, and I'm going to slide that in place. This one now is where I'm going to use that melon mambo. I loved that bright color, but I decided to attach it here. And I know you might not be able to see that. And you're probably thinking, is that going to close? Yep, let me show you what I did. I'm going to flip this upside down, and then once again, I'm going to grab my dimensionals. I'm going to put one here near the top and another one right next to it. And then let's remove those backings. The way the card closes, this pleat will come down. So if you attach it here, it's going to work. So I'm going to make sure that my little light bulb was right inside that perimeter, and I'm going to press. So when this closes, these are going to collapse on top of that bottom light bulb. Isn't this incredible? All right, but obviously this is not going to stay closed when you go to mail it. So let's talk about the outside. I've got more of that gorgeous designer series paper here. Oh, I almost hate to cover this. Let's go ahead and add some adhesive. And I decided to do a white layer for this. I'm turning it because I don't do anything straight. This is going to give me much better luck of getting that very narrow margin all the way around. And again, yes, this is all inside your project sheet for those dimensions. Let's add adhesive now to the back side of this. And this is going to get attached to the front of the card because we've got a fun closure for this. Closing up the card, I'm looking to align this. So again, it has that small margin all the way around. And once we're happy, we're just going to press that in place. Let's talk about belly bands. Belly bands are a wonderful way to create a closure to the card that allows for the card, once this is removed, for it to expand, which I love. But oftentimes you tell me you struggle with these because they crack when you want to put them around your cards. Let me give you a great idea. Take your bone folder and you're going to kind of break down those fibers by putting your bone folder through it, just like you would with curling ribbon. Now that it's broken down a little bit more pliable, you're going to take the back end where it's nice and pretty, and you're going to center it, and all you're going to do is place one end down and place the other end over the top. Do not make it too difficult for the other person to take it off, so don't make it too tight. Once you've got an idea, create a little crease there, and we are going to add some adhesive. I just leave it right in place, to be honest with you. So I'm going to add a little adhesive here, and on the other end, I'm going to add a little adhesive there. I'm going to realign those areas, and again, don't make it too tight, and we're going to attach it. This should slide. That's the most important tip I can give you. Now we can go ahead and decorate it, but boy, do I have a fun twist for you. We've got those extra light bulbs, correct? We also have a seam here, which is pretty unsightly. I'm going to take these and I'm going to add dimensionals to the back side. Again, placement is very important. So you're going to work one right in the middle because you don't want these to land on the outside of the belly band. Otherwise, that's going to prohibit the opening. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove those paper backings while they're all flat here on the surface. I'm going to take that blueberry bushel one and I'm going to use that to cover this up. So I'm going to attach one here and I'm going to attach another one here near the end. I'm going to take that crushed curry one. That's going to work right inside the middle. And the melon mambo one here, so cute, but we're not done because guess what? There is an incredible die in this die set. Do you see it here? It makes the wire. So it does a 2-for-1. You get the curly one and you get the one that's wavy. Now I took the wavy one. Now if this is too persnickety for you, that's fine, but I couldn't wait to show you how to do this. All you're going to do is you're going to thread these through the holes. So I'm going to go down. And I'm going to come up. Remember, cardstock is pliable and this is very, very thin. I'm not pulling because I don't want to rip it, obviously. So I'm just kind of working it through there. And I'm going to come down the next, or up the next one. I forgot which way I was going. And now we're going to come back over to this one here. I don't want it to be too long because I want to make sure you can get it in and out of the envelope. That once I'm done, I'm going to snip this one. And you might be thinking, that's going to come off. No, it doesn't. It doesn't come off because it's threaded through. I also did this ahead of time. Those are those words, and this is where we can build. So I'm going to go ahead and flip those over once again. And this is where that Stampin' Seal Plus little tabs are like my best friend because I know I can get little tiny areas covered. Now, one thing about the Stampin' Seal Plus, you want to make sure that you're not pressing too hard. So if you had a really rough day, it's not going to want to come out. This is a gentle adhesive. You can put these wherever you want, but for me, I decided to do a little fun and offset them here at the bottom. That didn't come out very straight, did it? Let's see if I can actually fix that. This is why the Take Your Pick tool is the best investment you'll ever make. So cute, isn't it? All right, so the belly band comes off, and then this amazing pop-up fun fold card is all ready for display. Isn't this great? I cannot wait to share with you the other cards. Let me set this one off to the side here, and let's bring in these other projects. This next one is going to use the Pick of the Patch bundle, which is the stamp set and the pumpkin builder punch. Isn't this so cute? I've absolutely loved using this. And for this one, I decided to use the brand new deckled circles in order to lay my images on. And I love this whimsical kind of feel. Look how big these are. This is going to be a fantastic addition to your artillery. So here is the card that I created. I did stencil the background because I didn't have just the right designer series paper. So break out those stencils. I have that stencil linked for you on the project sheet. Did some very simple stamping here. I'm going to go ahead and remove that belly band. And then here we go. We've got the pop-up to this card. This one says you're the pick of the patch. I put a very simple panel here so that you can write or sign, but I want to call your attention to something. Unlike this one where I skipped the top little pleat here at the top, I didn't here. I added a smaller tab, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not thrilled with it. I wish I would have made the tab a little wider so that it wasn't so obtrusive, because this really doesn't float because it's too far against the back of the cardstock. Does it look bad? Absolutely not. But I think I might have changed it. How would you have done yours? How would you have adapted this? But isn't this cute? This is just a great fun fold card when you have a myriad of images. All right, so here is my first and second one. And now for the last one. It's called Autumn Leaves, and I've fallen in love with this. I love autumn cards. There's just something about leaves. They make great masculine cards. They make great sympathy thinking of you cards. One is a leaf not in style for a card theme. It has coordinating autumn leaves dies, which are fabulous as well. And here is the card I created. The All About Autumn Designer Series paper is going to steal your heart. One side has beautiful fall imagery. The other side has a beautiful specialty foil paper. This is regular pecan pie cardstock, and you're going to notice I stamped those leaves on there. Let's go ahead and take this off. The belly band here, I just added some leaves and I added some of that beautiful new ribbon just to kind of give this a little texture. Love the embellishments. And here is the pop-up for this one. I'm going to open and close it so that you can see. No tab here on the back. I just added the leaves and tacked them down. I'm not sure it bought me much, but I like the way it looks when it cascades. These here are attached directly to the top of the inside of the pleat. This one, I added a tab so I could create a little bit of elevation for the leaf because you could see that it's shallow here. So you're going to need to experiment based on the stamps that you're going to use. So we've got 3 different amazing fun fold cards for you tonight, and I would love to know which one is your favorite. Do me a favor, pop down right now in the comments and let me know. And let me know how you would decorate those pleats. Would you go all the way to the back and all the way to the front? What stamp set are you going to use? We learn so much from each other, and your feedback is very, very important. Now, there's a couple big things happening that you need to know about, and the first one is this. That brand new mini catalog just came out a few days ago, and you're going to love it. It is packed with brand new stamp sets, designer series papers, embossing folders, dies, and embellishments. And now is the time to create your holiday cards. But guess what? There are stamp sets and dies in there that are not for the holidays that I think you're going to love. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you would like to receive a catalog, you can get all the details on how you can do that over on my website. Click on Shop and then scroll down to Catalogs. Next is this. There is a special release in September. Head over to my website and click on Shop and get all the details. If you haven't joined Stamp Studio memberships, I want to take just a moment to tell you that hundreds and hundreds of people are enjoying this weekly inspiration. There are 2 levels. Level 1 is $5 a month, and you get a brand new card tutorial that comes to your inbox every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. These cards include a variety of styles, everything from simple and duplicatable that include a little bit more of a technique, and beautiful card layouts. The best news is it doesn't matter what country you live in, and these ideas are not shared on any of my other platforms. Level 2 includes everything in Level 1, but an additional fun fold card, a discount in my tutorial library, and of course I do random product prize patrol every single month for those in Level 2. The information is over on my website under memberships, and we would sure love to have you join us. Mark your calendar, because guess what? Next week is a big week here. On Monday, which is September 18th, Gina is going to be here to provide an incredible fun fold for you. You're going to love this. Her samples are over the top as always. Mark your calendars to be here with us. If you haven't already gone to my website and scrolled to the bottom, you'll see the word subscribe. Click on that. That's going to sign you up for my free weekly e-newsletter, because you're going to want that tutorial. It's free, and you're going to want to be in the know on everything that happens here at Lisa's Stamp Studio. Gina, thanks for moderating tonight. We look forward to having you with us next Monday, which is September 18th. Have a great evening, everyone.